I watch people get stuck and frozen. And that breaks my heart, because I was once stuck and frozen too. Greatest superpower in the world that is attainable for you is the ability to influence people.
fully and wanted to acknowledge Sean, thank you for doing this, and your whole team with Unblinded. You guys are pretty. And wanted to acknowledge. Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you for doing this, and your whole team with Unblinded. You guys are pretty. And wanted to acknowledge. British Columbia, Canada. Sean, thank you for doing this, and your whole team with Unblinded. You guys are pretty. And wanted to acknowledge dream bodies and their exponential lifestyle through health and fitness through a nutritional product. It's a really simple system. Fun fact. Adrenaline junkie. Sean, I love that you're a shark fanatic. I've swam with 7 different types of sharks as well. Bungee jump.
Tony Robbins, guys, they always
Love it all. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, Alex, awesome job, brother. And the echo makes you sound like Jor-El from like Krypton in your Superman costume. And the coldest dive I've ever done in my life, Peter and Alex and all, happened in Vancouver in August. It was freezing, but a beautiful home and not far from Whistler. And Alex, thanks for being here, bro.
Thank you, Sean.
Peter.
Awesome. I'm gonna swap now to Teresa, TTP, if you're with us.
Hold on, let me unmute.
There you are.
Hey, Peter. Hi, everybody.
TTP is in the house.
How are you? Thank you so much for letting me be here. My name's Teresa Trigus Beverly, hence the TTP. A little bit about myself. I'm a real estate broker in the tri-state area who has a heart and a passion to give back to the community and help bridge careers for those who are in transition into real estate. A fun fact about me is that I'm a mother of a blended family with 5 children and 3 dogs.
And Teresa, how many agents in your brokerage?
It fluctuates between 150 and 180.
Yeah, awesome to have you here today, Teresa. Peter.
Thank you.
So we need some sugar. We need some sugar in this world. The one, the only, the Mr. Rob Gill.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, Sean?
Of results is in the house. What's up, Rob?
Yes. My name is Rob Gill. I hail from Bayonne, New Jersey. What I specialize in is bringing people together so their dreams can come true while at the same time providing world-class financial education and also teaching them how to show up every day in a peak state. And I do believe in the word transformational from a standpoint of vocabulary, so it ties into their values and beliefs and they know exactly where they are on the map and where they want to go. A fun fact is I'm very good friends with Beetlejuice and all of the things that go with it. And I'll say one last thing. You keep messing around with the shark, a foot's going to come off, and then you're going to be not messing around with the shark anymore.
Rob Gill, and Rob has stories of us being in that ocean in the fog and this blind guy like surfing past his head and Rob ducking and he can't stand the ocean. And we're going to have all those experiences this weekend again. Love you, Rob Gill. Peter.
Oh, boy.
We had a late entry in David Tarsky. David, are you there? Have you got your camera as well as your mic? If not, I'll go to Joe. There he is. You're on mute, David. Still can't hear you, brother.
Platinum was, yeah, it's good now?
Now we can hear you, that's amazing.
Yeah. I did 1 year platinum membership with Tony. I've been in Sean events in New York. Really love that he's 4 steps using that every time. I'm a real estate developer. I build commercial centers and I have chain of the sustainable fashion stores. Close with 1,000 employees. My passion is kiteboarding, kite foiling. So like that's what I do every day. And love to be part of the family, part of the process. My passion is to grow. I change when I've been with Tony my significance to grow, and that's made a lot of change. Basically, forgot about my ego, and I'm here to learn. And if I can serve, help others.
David, felt that energy, brother. How about a fun fact?
Thank you.
Awesome.
Sorry.
Yep. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah, how about a quick fun fact? I know you like kiteboard. How about a fun fact about you?
My fun facts?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. What do you mean by fun facts?
Something we might not expect about you.
I don't know. Sometimes I when I came to Canada, I'm 6'3", and you see my Russian accent, right? And I drive black cars, and I always, some people tell me, do you think you need to change accent and take those courses? And I was thinking, why? And then I'm thinking, I need to encourage who I am. So anytime I have any problem with the development project or anything else, I always pretend I'm some kind of Russian mob, because like that's how I look like, and it's always worked for me. And like I always think, you're gonna pay us on time, right? We won't have any problem. So I don't know, is that fun or not? But it works. It works in Canada because I'm exactly stereotyped this so in all of these movies. So it's always work with me.
It's like
nobody fucks around.
From Russia with Love is in the house with David. Back to you, Peter.
I love this. I love this blend. Although I feel like I need my fun fact to be about the ocean or the sea next time. I feel left out on that side. I left the best for last. The one, the only, the Mr. Joe Hagan. Joe, how you doing? Are you with us?
Illustrious Joe Hagan.
Hey, thank you, Peter, so much for inviting me with such a fine crew. Glasnost to our last guest. Bottom line is, I come from the Bronx, New York. Spent about 25, 30 years on Wall Street, in the markets. One of my favorite parts about being in that business was really coaching and training brokers, to become successful. And I'd like to acknowledge Rob Gill, because he's not only one of them, but in my second career of bringing alternative investments that, most investors would never get their hands on, just from my proximity to some people on Wall Street. Rob introduced me to the world of Unblinded. And what I'm doing in the world is adding to my repertoire people like TTP and, helping people learn what their ecosystem is, how to monetize it, how to merge it with other ecosystems. It's a lot of fun. It really is frictionless. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that opportunity to be here. And I'm on my way to LBI, and I just stopped in a what do you call it? One of these guest rest stops to pay attention a little more close. So that's where I am.
Mighty Joe Hagan. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Rob Gill, for the beautiful introduction of Joe Hagan and for taking care of my family's assets, resources, and also for supporting me in the ocean this weekend. Thank you, Rob. So, Peter, is that our entire roundup of amazing folks?
That's it. Well, we had others, but I thought this was enough awesomeness to put in a room for us to be more than appreciated.
Like, too much space is already being taken up, so like there's no more room for people because the massive energy and wonderful folks that are here, including you, Peter. So you ready to drop in?
We are indeed. Let's do it.
So fine, folks. This is going to be fun. This is the Real Raw. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? We're doing at the Real Raw is, again, demonstrating that influence is a superpower. Integrous, heart-centered influence. So, how does that all work? The exponentiality of how somebody becomes an Oprah Winfrey or a Tony Robbins. What does that look like? And how do, other coaches not be able to have a single client? Why is that? And is it really because there's that big a difference in how intelligent people are, how hardworking people are, how good people are? I don't think so. I think it's science. There's an equation, a formula, and that's what it's all about. So we're going to unpack that a little bit today, introduce those concepts, and in this round, the one round we're going to have, 3 minutes, you're going to talk to Peter. And Peter's going to be anybody you would like him to be, including himself. And the choice could be, Peter could be a voter if you're a presidential candidate. Peter could be somebody who's an ideal client of yours. Perhaps an ecosystem avatar partner, the person who could decide whether or not you come on stage, or maybe a book deal. Whatever a yes that would matter to you in the world would be, that's who Peter will be, that avatar you'd be seeking the yes from. So Peter, who is going to go first?
I'm traditional. Let's go for ladies first. But there is one caveat, Sean.
Yes, sir.
My only condition is I'm only willing to be a woman on Wednesdays. So I'll be whoever they want me to be as long as it's a man. Today is not Wednesday, so I have to be a man, I'm afraid. So I'm going to go for Empire first, if that works for Empire.
Yeah.
She doesn't like that, so I definitely now like that as an idea.
Mara, who would you like Peter Slane to be? What's the yes you're seeking in the world? Who would you like this man to be?
You take yourself off mute, Empire. Mute.
Unmute. There we go. You can hear me now. Perfect. Okay. So, what I'm transitioning to now is I would want you to be someone that is ready to embark and be an entrepreneur, where you have some security and you can venture off and do what you want to do. So how I would propose you is, I would say, well, Peter, I have proven success. I've been able to create 5 dynamic businesses during this COVID period.
If I take it quick, so who would you want Peter to be himself?
Yeah, just himself.
Cool. Okay. So it's gonna be 3 minutes.
Okay.
You're like going from hello to yes about something, right? That topic. Awesome. And with a minute to go, you'll hear an alarm. 30 seconds to go, another one. And at the end of 3 minutes, you hear the third one. Okay. And give you like a soft stop. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Take us in. Thank you.
Perfect. So Peter, so what I'm understanding is that a lot of business they haven't done well during this whole COVID thing. They've either plummeted, floundered, or are still struggling and eventually will close down or have some sort of bankruptcy. Well, I have proven success. I have a formula that I've used in many varieties of different companies, from restaurants to nightclubs to doctor's offices to spas, to the point where I've been able to create successfully 5 thriving businesses and increasing their ROI about 60 to 70% just during this period alone. It's a unique formula that I have, and I would like to share that with you so that if you're running a business or if you're thinking about a business or anything like that, I'll be able to assist you and get you to the tiers that you want, and really just expanding your ROI on whatever business venture you're involved in.
That's amazing. I think that sounds like a hell of a gift to give away for free. Is that what you're proposing?
The best way that I would say it is, knowledge has a value on it. So we would definitely discuss the options, seeing where you are and seeing how much growth you have. Obviously, there is going to be a nominal fee, but when you are growing 60, 90% and increasing your ROI, it's almost going to be invisible to you. It's going to be more of an investment and a long-term solution for you as opposed to something that would be cost-related.
Okay, well, obviously, I'm never going to say no to something that can do that. But why are you doing it? How did you come about this? How did this all work?
Well, I've always worked for businesses. I've helped companies grow from 4 million to 15 million, or just going from a 400,000 revenue up to the million revenue. Not for myself. I realized during this COVID, my husband, had a few businesses, and because of my history and education, I was able to analyze in depth how to go about it. There's a specific formula. So, proven record during this COVID time, I've helped not just our 5 businesses, but I was able to help 2 other ones, mentor them, and just guide them. So that's how it's created. And I think the most important part is, if you have the structure and you have some knowledge to be able to back that up, you will be successful. It might not be as easy from A to Z. You might have, a couple of little ones, but if you have the proper structure and formula, you won't hit, rock bottom hard as someone who doesn't have that formula.
Last 10 seconds.
So what do you say, Peter?
Yeah, how would we go forward with that? What would you do next?
I would come in and evaluate your business and evaluate your books, and we would meet one-on-one and find out what's the potential and where you want to go.
Phenomenal. Okay.
Great.
Awesome.
I'll sign you up.
Cool. How'd that feel for you?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm nervous. It was my first time pitching it to you guys, so it's like kind of feeling, but I'm confident. I think I've convinced you, Peter. I think you would buy into it.
Peter, how'd that feel for you?
So it factually landed, so it head landed, but it didn't heart land. So it was, I get where you're at, but there's the lack of that. But that's harsh. It was good, but it wasn't bad. It was good, but it's not there. It's still up here.
All right, so let's take it through a little assessing. TTP. Who are ready to tell them?
Hey, so you obviously know what you're doing. I would give it an 8. And what I would like to see maybe you do next time is talk to Peter more, ask him questions about himself. Because I think everything that you brought to the table, you don't even have to sell.
Got it.
Yeah, awesome. All right. The ambassador of results, Rob Gill. What do you got, brother?
Hey, to echo Double TP, I felt like she has whatever's going on in her world is phenomenal, and just hearing, I love to hear about it, just from being a spectator. I think that more questions that could lead to pain, where she could create her unique heroic identity, would be something that could help elevate.
Yeah, because Empora has an unbelievable story.
Yeah.
Track record, credibility, heart-centeredness. We'll show a little bit what that looks like, and of course, it's totally natural and normal that people are nervous and hey, it's a little bit of something, but that's in every encounter we have in the world, And so, what do we do to get ourselves out of our head into our heart, and from our heart to somebody else's? And you do a beautiful job, and it's like the micro distinctions that lead to exponentiality in the shift of growing $1 million business, a $10 million business, a $100 million business, or just having 1x influence, 10x influence, 100x influence. But Empora, awesome job. You're clearly a straight up rock star, and I have no doubt you could work with any business and crush it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Peter, who's next?
Well, do we want to look? John will come for you for your ideas on the next one. Let's go to. I want to see this this superhero come to the screen as well, Alex.
Alex.
Hey, Peter, how you going?
Who'd you like Peter to be, Alex?
Who am I?
Or should I say Superman? We'll call him Peter King, right?
Absolutely.
Who would you like him to be?
Say again, Sean?
Who would you like Peter to be?
Peter, I would like you to be exactly who you are, my man, because that's already more than enough.
Awesome. Take us in, Alex.
You betcha, my man. So thank you. Again, thank you, Peter, for being here. Acknowledge you, obviously, for reaching out. Really appreciate you doing that. Peter, the first thing I wanted to ask you about is, what are your goals surrounded around your health, around your physical health?
That's an interesting question. If you ask, I had a stroke 7 years ago, and it actually took me 2 years after having it to work out that maybe I should focus a little bit more on it. So I obviously need to lose some weight, because I want to make sure I'm here for my kids as they grow older and around to support them for as long as possible.
I love that. Love that, absolutely. And thank you very much for being vulnerable and open and sharing about your kids as well, and about your stroke, because that's a big deal. And you said that was 7 years ago, and now 2 years ago you said that's your pain point, right? Is if you want to release some weight, you want to start feeling a little bit better, you want to be around for your kids. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. I've got a lot of stories around my weight that I know not to be true.
Right. So what are some of those stories that you're telling yourself?
I would say that I find it almost impossible to lose weight. I would say that I think I have a resting weight. I don't know if that phrase kind of makes sense to people. No matter what you do, you end up seeming to come back to the same place. A few years ago, a trainer said to me, was I scared to lose weight because it would mean that I'd have to meet the world equally instead of being bigger than everybody. And on the basis I can still remember that he said that sentence, it probably means something that it's still sticking with me. So there's some psychology behind it as well, I guess.
Absolutely. So based around that psychology, do you see that you're needing to be bigger? Is that like an actual identity piece that resides within you, or is it basically what I'm asking, is that question really true? Because you asked, you feel like maybe it's impossible to lose weight. What I'm asking is that true, and is it really true?
My head would say it's absolutely true. My heart knows it's not true.
Perfect.
Oh no, the other way around. My heart believes it to be absolutely true. My head knows it's absolutely not.
Your head knows that you can do whatever you need to.
Whatever I want to do. I know I can do whatever I want, so I know I'm being a lazy son of a bitch.
And do you actually see yourself as a lazy son of a bitch, or is that just something that you've made up?
No, that's definitely something I made up. I work an average of 20 hours a day, so I've got 2 kids and $1 million business, so I unless I'd be very lucky or very stupid.
30
I
seconds.
can't-
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Peter, thank you again. You're well beyond a lot of people just because of your your ability to be vulnerable and say that out loud. So would you say that the biggest pain point for you physically is that losing weight or the weight release? Or is it an energy, or is it a sleep, or what is your biggest concern right now?
I don't sleep enough, so it has to be sleep.
Say again?
Sleep.
Sleep, yeah, absolutely, for sure. So, I mean, the sleep goes hand in hand with energy, with what we're eating, with what our vitality looks like. It absolutely helps. Say again, 10 seconds, John?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Peter, we can help you. There's 100% solutions. We can offer you solutions that can help you to get exactly where you want to be. And absolutely love to continue this call. We can talk about exactly how we can best serve you and exactly get the goals that you want for rest, for weight release, and so you can be around longer for your kids.
I'd be interested in that. Thanks, Alex.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Superman Alex, how'd that feel for you, sir?
It felt great. It's just a regular conversation. It's the same thing that you do every day with every person. It's not trying to be like great to put on the cape and the suit, right? We've all got that superhero inside of us, but the vulnerability that Peter shared with us, and that's what makes people real superheroes, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
The ability to be vulnerable, to be accepted, to go out on a limb, to not really give a shit what other people think, in a sense. Obviously, we all care about what other people think, but it's important to be yourself. So it felt good. It felt like a natural conversation with Peter that I would normally have as a friend or someone on the street. Business is about relationships, right? It's about people.
Absolutely.
So just being a person is the best way you can do to develop your people skills.
Amen, brother. Peter, how'd that feel for you? The heart-centered connection, and how would you be seeing the future and that presentation by Alex?
Honestly, Sean, it's fascinating listening to. This is the first time I've taken this role on these calls. So, Amparo and Alex have got exactly the opposite, for me anyway, the exactly same opposite, like problems and solutions. So, Alex, what I would say is that you've been suffering, from my perspective, something that I used to do a lot is I used to have too much of the conversation and not enough bringing it back to the intentionality of what you wanted. You know, I had a stroke 7 years ago, and I'm scared I won't be around for my kids. You have enough there to go, in my opinion. So I felt it was genuine. It started to get a bit uncomfortable at the end because it's a very personal subject. But it felt, I do want to know more about what Alex is doing. So I guess that's the end test is a tick, right?
Awesome. Well, so let's see what the illustrious Joe Hagan and Rob Gill. We have people that are trained and opened thousands of accounts with people they didn't know and serve people they did know. So these are two masters of influence, and of course TTP, rocking with 150, 180 agents, amazing judges today. Illustrious Joe Hagan, what do you have for Alex, Superman?
So I thought he was really rocking along, really using the power of questions and drilling down on each answer that Peter gave. He got him to connect to some deep-seated issues that Peter has inside. I thought there was a huge opportunity, though. What I would have liked him seeing him do is for his focus on the pain and the pleasure. Focus on the pain. It seems like Peter was really trying to convince himself that the weight's not a big deal because he works 20 hours a day and he's really successful and blah, 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 blah. And I think there was an open door there to say, well, let me ask you a question. Working 20 hours a day, if you have another stroke and your kids find you on the floor, is it really worth it? And ask him that. And when he gets to, and I would just go from there. I would just go into a formation agreement saying, listen, we need to sit down and get your priorities in order. You're doing a lot of the right things, but I can help you get to where you really need to be so that all of the work and all the effort that you put in, the fruits of that labor, you're going to see that with you and your kids for a generation.
Awesome.
But I would give him a 9.
Awesome, Joe. TTP, what are you rocking for Superman? Countdown 25 seconds.
We don't have TTP's first go to Rob.
Rob Gill, what do you got, sir?
Yeah, I thought that great questions. To Joe's point, there was an opportunity to go deeper. I may have done a Dickens play there and said, in 5 years, if you don't make changes, what does it look like? Let you sit in that space, and then towards the end, I would have pivoted to setting up our next appointment. where in that I would pre-frame it by saying we could get into some strategies that I think can help you get clear on where your outcomes are going to be. I wouldn't have given away my unique heroic identity on that call, more have been a listener, dug deeper, and set up the next appointment.
Nice score, Rob?
8.5.
Nice, brother. All right, Peter, Alex, great job. I'm going to give a couple thoughts in a moment or two, but Peter, who is next?
We're going to flip the order around a bit now. We're going to go for David. David, if you can unmute, and then who do you want me to be?
I think the be who you are will be the best.
All right, David, take us in, sir.
Okay, Peter, I love your accent. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Sorry, I missed first part. What do you do career-wise? Where do you live?
Yeah, I run thanks, David, it's good to meet you. I run a digital agency in the UK. Most of my customers are actually in America, and we help people scale their vision and their mission and reach the world in a way that they deserve to.
Mm-hmm. Got it. How do you do financially? Is it the company profitable?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We've only I've only just launched this company 4 weeks ago, but I've been in digital for the whole of my life, so it's kind of easy for me to fall back in it, and I know how to make this work. So yeah, we're doing okay.
Right. And what do you do for investment? Are you invest all in your business, or are you looking at other investments as well?
We have a couple of investments on the family level. We have another 2 properties as well as our primary property, which are currently vacation rentals in the UK.
How's it doing for you right now with that crisis? Are they impacted?
Yeah, it's been a very interesting couple of months. They've gone from costing me $4,000 a month in mortgages and earning me $12,000 a month in rent to costing me $4,000 a month and earning me nothing in rent. So the differential to me is about £22,000, about $30,000 a month.
That's crazy. I feel your pain because I'm a landlord as well. I have commercial properties and some of residentials. So I'm looking free of my funds, and my commercial funds was 20% down. We cash positive still after paying mortgages. And basically what I want to talk to you, if you're interested, we mostly work with our own money. And we always choose assets, which is no matter what happens, they can't lose because we do assets allocation. Right now we're doing industrial portfolio. In Canada with Amazon, it's a shortage for industrial place. Industrial prices went up probably for 3 years, double in the value. So, and what I started doing last 2 years, and perhaps you're interested, if not, just to maybe for education's great as well for the group. So we invest in the industrials, and I decided we basically done with our own money because I want to grow and I want to take more properties, and that way we decided we're going to take some partners on as well. So the majority we're still putting our own funds, so it's give partners comfortable level, and the returns are between 10 to 25%, and the turnover it's 5 years. So I found that for me most important, and I'm not doing that for myself, I'm mostly doing that for my kids, and always live on reality. I have active business, if boss hits me tomorrow, they cannot run that business. So I was taking some assets which is I will be providing no matter what. If you would be interested, and if we start like from $10,000, they just start small. So my friend want to participate in new fund. If you're interested, please let me know.
I will do. Thank you. That's interesting.
Alex, awesome job, brother. How did that feel for you?
David, how did that feel for you?
I'm sorry, David. My apologies. David, how did that feel for you?
I feel I could do much better. I couldn't more build rapport because it's 3 minutes hard. But I feel like I did okay. I didn't do great, but I did okay.
Okay, I think you did well. Let's just play a fun, quick game, Peter. You up for that real quick? Okay, so 3 minutes is quick. Let's see. Peter, who would you like me to role play with? Pick anybody from the crew, perhaps one of the amazing guests.
Let's go for Chuck. We haven't heard from Chuck yet, so how about Chuck?
Hey, Chuck. How you doing, sir?
Good, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for coming. I'm super impressed, by the way, by the story about the White House. Remarkable. How did all that kind of happen with your buddies? And it's an interesting place for them to get to.
So I actually started working on the Gary Hart campaign. Ran around with him for a while. When he got kicked out of the race, Mondale's people picked me up, and all my guys that I knew back on the East Coast, they hung around and stayed with Mondale and came through, and then slowly worked their way up, and all landed in the Clinton administration in the West Wing. And one of my close buddies, Craig Livingstone, was actually brought up on charges for Filegate with the Clinton administration.
Wow.
And how he was hired was supposedly through Mrs. Clinton, and so it became a controversy, and he was kicked out, and Filegate really didn't go as far as it could have, but it was all the start of a lot of the impeachment issues with Clinton.
Yeah. So, dude, there's like a Forrest Gump-ness to your life story, being in the middle of this craziness. How is it that you ended up in these places? Because you're in the race with Hart, Mondale's people pick you up. That means you have serious skills. So what is it that you think this is all about in terms of them seeing a future in your work?
I think what it is I'm always a grassroots kind of guy. And so when Gary Hart picked us up, I was Western Pennsylvania student coordinator going out to college in Western Pennsylvania. And I left school at a certain point and went up to New Hampshire prior to the primaries, and I knocked on every door, and I did whatever I needed to do. So I really enjoy grassroots type of work, and I'm still doing that today, even as an old man.
I'm hearing incredible consistency and a little bit of rebelliousness in there. Am I hearing you correctly, Chuck?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, where's this all going now? What are you up to?
So right now I have a passion, and when I got to Peter, I was gonna ask him to be a middle-aged executive with 2 children under the age of 6, living in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And so I was going to go and him believing that municipalities and local government tell him the truth. And so one of my biggest passions right now is that you honestly believe that the water that you're drinking is pure and is great, and it's coming out of the municipality. And when it does leave their facility, it is clean and clear, but it travels all the way through. And in Minneapolis, 70% of all the pipes in the ground are lead pipes. Once it gets to your house, you've got copper and lead fittings in your house. And then when it finally gets to your faucet, there's brass fittings that open your water and close your water. And every time those 2 brass fittings rub together, they throw off lead and copper. And copper the body can use, lead can't. So a lot of the contamination is actually localized to your home. So it's a grassroots thing. I want people to be healthy and not be contaminated with that lead. So I'm trying to get out there and let people know that.
And more lightning bolts the status quo, Chuck creating disruption. Just quick, I know we only have a few seconds to go before we have to jump, Chuck. But what's the legacy? Where does all this disruption, rebellion, unveiling of truth, what would you want people to say about you?
That I always thought of other people more than I thought of myself.
Awesome. Can I just take a couple of final seconds to share a little bit about myself? Because I acknowledge you and your heart, your intention, your integrity. You are refusing to be a good person who watches things happen and not open their mouth. So thank you for that in the world. Can I share a little bit about me?
Thank you. Please do.
Yeah. So, hey, my name is Peter Swain, again. And what I do is I help people get their message out to the world. I know we're out of time, but my passion, my commitment after more than 1,000 projects is there's no way we will not get the message out on a massive scale. And so would you like to take 10 or 15 minutes and explore how we might help each other a little bit more?
Absolutely.
Okay, pause. So that was about probably 3.5 minutes, right? I spoke for probably 15 seconds as Peter, right? And how did you feel, Chuck, in terms of our connection, human to human, and I'm looking for a real answer, from the hello when we started that exercise to the end? How did you feel about our heart connection?
I honestly felt that I overran the situation, mainly because I was talking to you and thinking that I was talking to Peter. So I wanted to give you the authority and the background of what needed to be said and what needed to be done. And so I didn't feel the connection between either me and you or me and Peter. And I would have wanted to play the questions, hey, what do you feel about the health of your children? What do you feel about the immune system and how it can be suppressed by heavy metals in your body? I would have asked an awful lot more questions. I guess I got rolled up into the passion of what I am and what I'm doing instead of being inquisitive.
Yeah, understood. How did you feel, though, about how I heard you?
From your feedback afterwards, I felt that you felt that I may be an authority on this, and so it made me feel really good that you wanted to learn more, or you have that wanting to know that my heart is in the right place.
Right. And so when I was encapsulating and acknowledging, hey, this is who I think you are, was I hearing you correctly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so.
How does it feel to be heard correctly?
Oh, uplifting and absolutely wonderful.
Awesome. Yeah. So you're ready to roll, right? And that was designed to show that if I was the person building rapport in that situation with Chuck, and there's an uplifting, energizing dynamic to do what Oprah Winfrey said, which is to leave people feeling, I see you, I hear you, and what you say matters to me authentically. So now, Chuck, it's your turn with Peter. And we're going to roll through this exact same thing where you're going to build rapport with Peter and do your thing in 3 minutes. So, and would you like Peter to be himself or somebody else?
Well, I'd like to go back to him being the middle-aged dad who has 2 kids under the age of 6, living in Minneapolis, Minnesota, living in a home that's built in the 1950s.
All right, we're going to pause, though, because we have a little bit of feedback yet that we haven't given for Alex in last round. And was it Alex that last round, Peter?
David.
It was David that I was.
Sorry, David. So let's start with Rob Gill. Rob, what do you have for David?
David, well, I think one of the things that I spoke about was the importance of heartfelt connection, and I think David didn't establish that at all, only because I'm not sure if he even, I don't know how deep he is in the formula or not, so I'm not trying to put that on blast, but I think that he came like Megatron, like boom, 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 about what he was offering. Reminds me when I used to pick up the phone in 1996 and get on a cold call right away. But with that being said, like his information, was obviously very powerful, but I think it all goes back down to developing that rapport with heartfelt intention. And it is a challenge in the first 3 minutes if you're not aware of the formula.
Yeah. And the sequence is the opening of listening, heart-centered connection, and then David dropping in with this tremendous amount of decisive, certain Zeus energy. Right, because isn't that Rob? He's powerful.
Power Zeus. He's Zeus's boss.
So it's an amazing job. So a little heart-centered openness and that variance, and then dropping in with that decisiveness, it would, exponentially increase that power, which is already extraordinary. So awesome job. Illustrious Joe Hagan, what do you have for David?
Yeah, there was something though before he was Zeus doing boom, boom, boom. I thought if his 3 minutes was a 9-inning game, his second to the 8th inning was awesome. It was the first inning and the last inning where he dropped it. He started with "I love your accent," and I chuckled because here's a Russian guy talking to an English guy and "love your accent." And I thought he could have said, he could have made fun of that and just stayed on that. And then he asked him like a financial question personally, and I'm like, all right, if you're going to go there, I would at least get his permission first, right? Like, don't just be the Census Bureau on someone's profitability, and just as it's a matter of fact, say, hey, if you don't mind my asking, and I think I'll show you why. And I think everything, like Rob says, was spot on with the information, and totally never, ever, ever, like you're told as a broker, if you mail, you fail. You also don't tell somebody, hey, by the way, let me know. I would have a call to action, like, I'm going to send you some information on my latest projects. I want you to look at them, and I'm going to follow up with you. What day is best for you, so then we can discuss just how profitable they are and how you can participate. And that was really it, just the beginning and the end. And an 8.5.
Excellent. All right, awesome, brother. Peter, are you ready for Chuck?
I don't know if anyone can be ready for Chuck. I feel like there's a silent assassinness to him, but as ready as I can be. And I support the Vikings, right? Have I got this geography right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll try and get within that space. It's probably better than supporting the Jets. All right, I'm there. Let's go for it.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, real quick, there was an interesting James Bond from Russia with Love dynamic, as David dropped in with Loving Your Accent. Like UK, Russia, it's present. It's happening here on the real raw. I love it.
We're international. We're everywhere.
All right, so Chuck, take us in.
Hey, good afternoon, Peter. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Chuck. How are you?
Very good. So I understand you have 2 children. Give me their ages and their names.
So personal? You a stalker?
No. I'm just curious. I kind of like to get to know my clients and what they're up to and everything like that.
I'm busting you a bit. Yeah, I have a daughter, Olivia. She's 5, and I have a son, Sam, and he's 3.
Wonderful. So I hear you live in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
That's right.
And you're an executive.
Yep.
And so, probably very concerned with the COVID and immune suppression and everything like that right now, being everything going around you. Is that a concern for you and your family?
Yeah, I mean, sorry. Yeah, you talk about immune suppression like cough. Look at that for some programming. I don't know. I think I was really concerned at the beginning. I think you got to keep yourself safe and be reasonable, but at the same time, there's also a life to be led. I know the government is doing what they can to keep us safe, and that's the best I can hope for.
So for the most part, do you believe what the government tells you and the local governments tell you about what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I've got 2 choices. I either doubt everything and live in a state of perpetual paranoia, or I have to trust that I trust who I trust.
Okay. So I wanted to give you a little bit of information about your area. Did you know that your drinking water that you drink that comes out of your municipality, when they test it at their facility, is pure 100% and ready to go, and it's able to be drank, without any issues, without any chemical issues or any problems?
Yeah, my wife's really into that. We actually got their report and stuff, so yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, so the big problem, though, is what happens from the plant to your faucet. And so I wanted to give you a little bit of information that 70% of all your piping from the filtration plant all the way to your home are lead pipes. And that you live in a 1950s home, which in the walls is copper and lead fittings, and then also your faucet has brass that keeps the water from leaking as you turn your faucet on and off, and they rub together. And every single time they rub together, they're kicking out lead and copper. And so the EPA has a lead and copper rule, 15 parts per billion is safe for you. But because you live in that home and because all the transportation from the facility to your house may be cross-contamination for you and your drinking water, would you be concerned? And would you like to get that tested?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what you're saying is a little bit shocking, right? But I think lead's bad for me, as I understand it, right?
It is. It's one of the only heavy metals that has a cognitive issue for kids under the age of 6, and reading abilities. And in adults, it actually impacts your reproductive system if it's too high. So my company actually
already that's enough. So my reproductive is fine, but my kids' reading age.
The only problem is all right, maybe you don't want the reproductive, but it makes you impotent. So, I mean, you don't want to have that. You still want to have your fun.
Real raw, ladies and gentlemen. Chuck, the real raw. So, Chuck,
So the situation is I have kits that I can actually send to you. You can actually take the water out of your faucet, first draw. You can take a 15-second draw, and you can determine where your contamination is, whether it's coming from your faucet, whether it's coming from your house, or whether it's coming from the street. And the kits that I have, I can do that for you at a very low cost.
Right.
Peace of mind.
good job, Chuck. Peter, how are you feeling, sir?
I was tough on Chuck at the beginning because as soon as you ask how old my kids are or where they are, then without permission, that's like, no, you can't, you have to ask for that one you have to ask. After that, I thought it was beautiful, but I think linking the benefits back to my kids was a more powerful way to go with it and would have got a quicker way to yes. Because if you said your kid's reading age, I'm like, I'm in, I don't care, don't need to know how much the price is.
Right.
TTP is still not back yet, correct?
I haven't seen her video, and she's been on mute, so I'm guessing we've lost her.
No, I'm here. I'm all in, Peter Swain.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to judge, sorry.
No, it's all good. So for me, he was an 8.5. He clearly is expert in his area, and I sense that he does have a passion to, change the world in your space, in your environmental space. And by the way, you should know that I'm standing next to someone from Minnesota as we're walking through New York City to our car to come meet Sean.
Yes.
But I would like to see you drop in a little more with Peter's connection, because I don't think you have to sell everything that you have, because you clearly are a rocket scientist. So I would just stick with the heart and then say, hey man, you've got kids. I know you want to protect them, and lean into that space.
Okay.
TTP, quick score.
So for me, he was a 9.
Excellent. And by the way, did you bring your scuba tanks?
Dude, you did not tell me to bring scuba tanks, but if I'm scuba diving, I'm going to kill you.
Memo? Rob Gill, what do you got? And did you get the memo, Rob? What do you got for Chuck?
Rob had to jump, unfortunately, so let's skip to Joe.
Joe, do you have the memo and the scuba tanks or no?
No, but whatever. It is what it is. We got to do what we got to do. All right?
What for Chuck?
Sir, yes, sir. So in any event, totally. Look, my life is my kids. And exactly what Peter said, I'm ready to punch you and not write a check when you start saying, what's your kids? What's their names? And I had the same instinct as Peter. What do you call it? A creep? Like a stalker? I'm like, whoa. But I think if you lead with, hey, Peter, how are you? Listen, I don't know if you have kids. I have kids, and I would do anything to protect them. How about you? Now, kids are our favorite subject. Once you ask Peter the question about kids, he'll talk about his kids, and he'll give you everything he wants. So, okay, what if I told you that something was really, you didn't even realize it, like a creep in the night and during the day, a silent killer, silently harming your children every single day. If I told you that, would it raise an eyebrow? Would you want to learn a little more? Yeah. Well, it's actually you're drinking water, and people don't realize. And then you tell them why, and you can go into a little bit about the harmful effects, and it even has an effect on you. If I told you it affected you and your wife in the bedroom, would you want to learn a little more? I think you would. I've had nobody tell me no. So let's do this. I'm going to test your water, and I'm going to explain to you a little bit more in detail. If I can't make sense to you then, that's fine. But I think if I do, I think you'll realize that I could, put you in the right direction as far as health and wellness and protecting your kids. So that was really it. Everything was there. It's just the beginning about the kids was a little off. And I think exactly what TTP said, leaning into, protecting him and doing for them, because that's every proper parent's first instinct. So I would give him an 8.5.
Mighty Joe Hagan, great job. Peter Swain,
Yes, sir.
bring us to a close on Fun Friday. I know it's a lot later for you than it is for us, but final from the UK.
I just think it's been another amazing experience. I think that Alex and Chuck and David and Amparo have they're all brought it, right? Let's be honest. It's we're grading 8s and 9s and 9.5, but it's already in a pantheon when we're doing it. And I just want to, Sean, thank you for putting this together. I've been blessed enough to meet you and learn a bit more about the formula and course correct some of the things I've been doing and scale up. So I really appreciate it, and I'd like to thank everybody for coming on. I think it's been super good fun.
Yeah, amazing. Influence is just more energy. More energy is fun, aspirational, like going somewhere, guarded, goddess, present, heart-centeredness, Zeus, decisive, action forwarding, fun, aspirational, goddess, Zeus. They give anybody of massive influence you've ever seen. Martin Luther King, Bono, Bruce Springsteen, JFK, Barack Obama, yeah, even Donald Trump, right? We're not talking about who like or don't like. We're talking about the superpower of influence and how it functions. So for all of us, wiring our energies between those four and understanding the sequence of when to do it, where to do it, and other indispensable elements that to surround it, that's how there's such an exponential opportunity in the growth of our influence. And these are rock stars today. Peter, you're a rock star. Thank you, everybody, for being here, particularly our judges, Joe, Teresa, Rob, and all of our awesome guests. We'll see you again on the Royal Raw, and we're going to have the Unblinded Elite Immersion Weekend. Peter, and you'll be missed. And if you're coming, we'll see you soon. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Sean. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.